Shalom, shalom. Halayla Tawab, which is good night. A knocking at Wahai, Boya Sha'ala, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, to preach to you so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Sapiens, and Israelite foreigners. Acham Adam, Kaya, Hamalakwa, Hashemayim, Korah, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, I'm going to say, Call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Racha HaKodash, a double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and rule well, and much respect to you bros out there pushing his truth with all righteousness and sincere shalom, shalom. So essentially, just getting to learn out the way of the heathen, because the scriptures give a detailed synopsis of going into that, and a lot of the laws actually touch on that, because a lot of the practices that the heathen was doing, we were instructed not to do that. So we'll start with Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1.
Okay.
Oh, I told you, could you Baba Kushal, could you pull it up in the like on the screen?
On the screen, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I shared it just now.
The water.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. The header of this chapter is a satire on idolatry. It says, Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Right, so that word dismayed goes into chatat, which means to be broken, to be scared, to be terrified. We understand that the Lord uses, the different signs of heaven, like the eclipses, the comets, the meteors, specifically, and then also the chariots, as good signs for us, you see, but for the other nations, they're like warnings and, fearful sights. That's why the heathen are dismayed at it, We'll go down to verse 5.
God. Jeremiah 10 and 3. For the customs of the people are vain.
Mm-hmm.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Right, and this is ultimately going into Christmas, you see, but then you got a whole multitude of different holidays that the heathen celebrate. You got 2/3 that actually pretty much subscribe to these things. It says the customs of the people. So it says they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. And pretty much going into how they make it look good. It ultimately it looks good for Jake. But it's not ultimately good for them. Because a lot of these days go back to idols.
God. Jeremiah 10 and 5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not.
Mm-hmm.
They must needs be born because they cannot go.
Right. Could Kwanawaf, could you get Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16, Baba Kushah? So it says they are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. That they don't have the spirit dwelling with them. And as brothers go into, these things, these different idols, these different things that Jake likes to get into. They're not ultimately telling Jake what to do in a time of prophecy. And the end time and the end days.
Mm-hmm.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee.
It might be
It
might be 17 or 17, yeah.
Okay. Habakkuk 2:17. For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts which made them afraid because of men's blood.
So like verse 18. Yeah.
Okay. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 18. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it, the molten image and the teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusted therein to make dumb idols?
Right. So what benefit, what avail are these different idols? They ultimately have no benefit. That's why the scriptures call these idols ala Yah, which is worthless.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going.
Back in Jeremiah.
Habakkuk 2:19.
Okay. So Habakkuk 2:19. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise. It shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it.
Right. Ultimately, going back to what we got in that Jeremiah, it's no breath in it. It's no understanding in it. So ultimately, that's why it's of no avail. It's of no benefit.
Okay. If I may, can I grab a definition real quick?
Yeah, you got it.
Because it said, "Learn not the ways of the heathen." Now, this is the word for learn in the free dictionary. It reads, to acquire knowledge of, or skill by study, instruction, or experience, to become informed or acquainted with, to ascertain. So we've been commanded not to be acquainted with the ways of these heathen, man. To not to tie ourselves to the ways, ultimately of Babylon the Great, but of all these other philosophies that are pushed out here, man. To all the other ways of these other nations, man. Because Jake is impressionable, man. So our people are going to follow into whatever looks good, what's pleasing to the eye. That's part of us being in these chains of darkness. But we've been told not to learn those ways, not to acquire knowledge and skill in those ways. Because you see, Jake, once they learn these things, they become the best at them, man. They become the best, at going into wickedness. So just real quick, I want to get this in Genesis.
So, Akia, if I may add, it was the spirit. I don't know if you brothers caught it. You had Jake on the little ad on the website. You see it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Jake practicing these damn cussing for the heathen.
Right.
Yeah. God.
Spirit.
Yep.
But real quick, this is Genesis 3:3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High had said, "Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die." And that touch going into being acquainted with these things, man. Cleaving unto these different ways, right, and learning and becoming proficient in these things, man.
Mm-hmm.
When we're supposed to be proficient in our own ways and customs, not the ways of the heathen.
I got two to add behind you because you had made mention of how we were instructed not to, go after the ways of the heathen because, like you said, man, our people are very impressionable. This is why the Lord made it very specific. All right, the moment we got brought out of Egypt and Moses went up on Mount Sinai, he came down with the tablets. The Lord was letting Israel know from the jump, like, look, this covenant that He's about to make with us. All right, we're to stick to it, man, because He was declaring that you are talking about us. You are my people. All right, so it's stipulations that you're gonna have to abide under, all right, to be my people, which is, as we know, the Ten Commandments. We're about to go into this. This was real quick. Exodus 20:1. And Yahweh Shem Yahushua spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy power, which have brought thee which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right, so that's the very first law the Lord brought out, was we were not to have any other God. All right, because He's our God, man. Okay, it says, Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. Right. So the Lord told us pretty much not to make a graven image or an idol out of anything that's pretty much in the earth, man. And we know that was said because the heathen round about, all right, they were worshiping, eating, and everything, man. Okay, and the proof of that, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1. It says, "Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of Yahweh Shem Yahushua." We know the heathen are ignorant of Yahweh Shem Yahushua because according to Amos 3, or the Lord says, of all the families of the earth, you only have I known. Speaking of Israel, man. All right, so the other heathen, they never knew Yahweh Shem Yahushua, so they worship these different, these different gods and idols, pretty much because they wanted they have a power too, but their gods are all fake. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is, neither by considering the work did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of the stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world, right? And that's where a lot of our people get these different customs from. But a lot of the time they don't even know, because in this generation that we live in today here in Babylon the Great, we have been separated from Yahweh by Shem Shai and been given practices and customs that we now partake in, not realizing what it goes back to. All right. So as the brother Yawam's getting into his lesson about learning not the way of the heathen, this is why you have to do the research to know what it is that you're worshiping, man. Because our people have made, idols out of literally everything, man. And
God.
so I got a little bit more. It says, with whose beauty, if they being delighted, took to them to be gods, and let them know how much better the Lord of them is, for the first author of beauty have created them. All right. So as much as our people and the heathen give reverence to these the elements, the animals, all right, nature, whatever, they should be worshiping. Speaking of Israel now, our people should be worshiping the creator that made all these things, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when I read this, what comes to mind is the Gadites, man, the so-called North American Indians, because these niggas had gods for everything, man. The rain god, the sun god, the plant god, the wind god, the raven, all different shit, man. But there's a creator that created all that, which is Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, man. All right. And so we're to instruct our people now that we have been given Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai back. It's like we said like this. Now that we've been brought back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, we are to instruct our people the correct way on how to serve our power. So finishing out, it says, verse 4, but if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made them. So as beautiful and as powerful as nature is, the different creations, the Lord is even more powerful and to be worshipped over that, because He made everything, man.
That's right.
Y'all got it,
Right. Can we get Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 26?
May I get a quick precept just to add to what the brother priest Amawan just brought out? This is Romans 1 and 25. It says, who changed the truth of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator. Now, we oftentimes apply this to Esau, but this also applies to our people as well. Okay. Because as we know, this letter that was sent to the church in Rome, you had our people that were carrying on in the customs of the heathen, man. Okay. So it says, and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator, as the brother priest have made mention of in Wisdom of Solomon, right? The 13th chapter, how our people were pretty much reverencing the creation as opposed to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. It says, who was blessed forever, Amen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So our people, they continue to make lies their refuge, man, continually serving the creature more than the creator. And we're now seeing the downfall of all of these heathenistic customs before our very eyes, but yet our people are still content in staying in a state of lies.
Yeah, because if I could speak on that real quick, because like you brought it at camp last Wednesday, all these different, revelations of what these different things go back to show you that everything is idolatry, and our people are still into it, whether they know it or not, man. So we're at a point now to where Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, all right, is leaving no stone unturned, to where Jake has no excuse anymore, man.
Exactly.
Could we get Leviticus 19 and 26? And another brother get Leviticus 17, 10 to 11. And another brother get Matthew chapter 6 and verse 7, Baba Kashab.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 26. You shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall you use enchantment, nor observe times.
Mm-hmm.
You shall not round.
It's a lot. When you going to, could you put, it says, ye shall not eat anything with the blood. Because when the scripture, could a brother get the Leviticus, I get it, Leviticus 17 and verse 10.
I got you right here.
Con, the water.
So Leviticus 17, verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, it's like, and whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people.
Mm-hmm. That was 10 or 11.
That was 10.
Con, because ultimately, like, again, going into that, you know, the heathen practice those types of left-hand things, going into ultimately blood magic, you know. And like we'll get Lord's will going into Leviticus 19 and 28, you know, that goes into things like, i.e., getting tattoos and et cetera and et cetera. Those are all heathenistic customs.
Hey, read verse 11, bro.
Okay. Leviticus 17 and verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
Right. So, like the brother was going into, when you look at why the Lord had said this, just as every other law, the Lord, made plain unto us, because these ways were to set us apart from the heathen, because the heathen were doing, these different things, such as, like the brother said, drinking blood, performing blood magic, because these heathen, especially these devils, they know that it's life inside the blood, man. It's what they call, like you said, blood magic. You got,
Adrenochrome.
Well, yeah, you gotta be careful with that word, though.
Oh, so
but yeah, you got that, all right, which is like the fountain of youth, pretty much, for these devils, man. But the Lord told us to pretty much not to eat our meat with blood in it, man, because, like I said, there's life in the blood, man. All right, even so much so to where, even down to how the animal is sacrificed, man. All right, because if you kill it, inhumanely, like you see these slaughterhouses do today, man. Hey, that all the stress hormones and different things in the blood gets transferred into you when you eat the shit, man.
Because you see a lot of these heathen nations, like the brothers going into, they put reverence into the blood so much so that when they slaughter an animal, the first thing they do is drink the blood.
Yeah.
Right? They'll kill the animal, they'll drain the blood out, and they'll drink it, they'll cook with it, right? They'll do all manner of things with the blood because they see that as a deity. Like the brother said, they drink it, because they think it's going to give them life. When we've been specifically, commanded not to do so, man.
Right. Because the blood is a part of the ritual that they use to appease to their god, man, their idol.
Could we get that? Go back to Leviticus 19 and 26, Bible shop.
Okay. Leviticus 19 and verse 26.
On the I was gonna get some words.
Which word did you need?
You get the word for observed times. Should go into I9. And we can get in the Strongs.
Con. This is the Strong's definition, H6049, I9. It says to make appear, produce, bring clouds, to practice soothsaying, conjure.
Yep.
To observe times, practice soothsaying or spiritualism or magic or augury or witchcraft. It says
if I can mention, you got a lot of Jake that tap into stuff like that, but we've been instructed not to do that. But I just wanted to get this word because that essentially, if we went down into the lexicon, it'll say it's a general term for everything, so the Lord covered everything in that one word. And then also it said to practice enchantment, which was nachash, going back to like what the serpent did in Genesis chapter 3. None of that stuff we're to tap into. We're instructed not to do that.
Right. Like an example that you were saying, you got the so-called Haitian Levi, all right, that take part in like the voodoo and the black magic and things like that. Talk to them. If you want to speak on that, you can real quick. I know you know a little bit about that. But pretty much, these are different practices. Before you speak on it, I want to read this for you in the commentary dealing with the drinking blood thing. So I said that ye shall not eat anything with blood. It says eating blood was a practice in many pagan cultic ceremonies, as with divination and soothsaying. Therefore, both were directly forbidden. It says Harrison on soothsaying, the prognostication of favorable times for specific forms of action. This was predicting lucky days or favorable times as an astrologer or others do. It says pagans often deployed divination and sorcery to try to determine what events would soon transpire. Divination and sorcery were widespread in the Near East, particularly in Mesopotamia and Egypt, which were high, witchcraft, societies. Mesopotamia, which was pretty much Babylon, and Egypt, all right, which
Can,
those damn Hamites.
could I add to you?
Go ahead.
Also, where it said observe times, like it says right here, it says to make appear, produce, bring clouds. That's essentially one form of what Esau used now. How he gets. If we was to look up, where the meteorology or whatever they call the weather people, the weatherman, they used to say they practice witchcraft because essentially they will make clouds appear. Because how else do they know? How could else they predict, the weather?
Mm-hmm.
They also got the heart machines.
Mm-hmm. You got to talk about.
I got a quick. Oh, sorry.
No, I mean you hit it pretty much. You pretty much hit it on the head. You know what I'm saying? As far as the Levites, and you have Simeon, right? Well, not Simeon. Pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
No, you Simeon. It's Simeon.
Simeon? Okay, Salakia. Yeah, they both practice. That left hand sorcery, and if you have time, you could also look it up on YouTube. There's a video of these Levite priests, left-hand Levite priests that are actually practicing it in New York. But I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head.
I got a quick one just to land back off what you brothers are saying. This is Deuteronomy 18 and verse 9, and the subsection reads, Israel to avoid pagan practices. And it says, when thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of the times, or an enchanter, or a witch,
Mm-hmm.
or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy power doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy power, for these nations which thou shalt possess hearkened unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy power has not suffered thee to do so. So as brothers were saying, man, we've been strictly permitted from doing these things, man. Right? We've been told stay away from all manner of evil, and these things are all evil, man. The familiar spirits, the wizards, necromancers, observers of times, the various divinations and enchantments. Scriptures tell us it suffers not a wish to live, man.
I was about
all
to get
these
that.
God.
Baba Bashar, hey, read what you read in the NLT, bro.
God, let me pull it up.
In fact, I got it right here. I can read it for you. Breakdown. I mean, it's the same thing, but just modernizing it for people that don't know what some of those words mean. So this is Deuteronomy 18 and 10 in the NLT. It says, for example, never sacrifice your son or daughter as a burnt offering. Because mind you, this is things that the heathen were doing. All right. It says, and do not let your people practice fortune telling, or use sorcery, or interpret omens, or engage in witchcraft, or cast spells, or function as mediums or psychics, or call forth the spirits of the dead. And that's within Jake culture heavy now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Niggas play with Ouija boards. All right, niggas go. Remember, well, Tazma might not remember, but yeah, Miss Cleo.
Yeah. Call me now.
But you had, different things like that. Jake's heavy into the witchcraft now, and to the point to where it's so bad now to where that's becoming a growing religion amongst people that's leaving the Christian church, man. Specifically among the black women, man. These women are becoming witches, man. But
they call it New Age or something.
Yeah, New Age, New Age spiritualism is what they call it now. But that's all witchcraft, man.
Yep.
These bitches will they play with tarot cards. They do the palm readings. They do the what's the shit we was talking about the other day with about the months. The horoscope shits.
Oh, yep, zodiacs and stuff like that.
Zodiacs and all that. You know, it's heavy witchcraft, but the Lord told us not to do things like that, man. Because, like I said, these things all go back to pagan rituals that was, you know, offering up sacrifice to other gods, man. And so the people in today's time, they're not literally sacrificing lives. Well, you got people high up in Hollywood and them really doing it. But for you lower level people, all right, you niggas is out here doing these things, all right, on a low level, not realizing what the spiritual fornication that you're doing, man. This is why the Lord is going to destroy a lot of our people, man, because they don't see the seriousness of why the Lord said don't do these things, man.
Right.
Because the penalty, real quick, it's like it, quarter, I'm going to read it real quick. Exodus 22 and 18, thou shalt not suffer a wish to live. You can break it down, you want.
Con, thou shalt not suffer a wish to live. Because when you look back at in the ancient world, you know, even though he was going off, but Saul, he had all the witches and the warlocks and et cetera, put to death, you know, because essentially, you know, they're not supposed to be in the land, you know, because going back to like we go into, Jake is impressionable, so Jake starts to pick up on these things. That's why you can't have those types of acts happening in the land, you know, and if those things is happening in the land, just like the heathen got pushed out, you know, we'll be pushed out of the land.
And that's what happened. All right, because we rebelled against the Most High, which is another thing that the Lord, you know, looks at as wicked, man. Just real quick for you, 1 Samuel 15 and 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he have also rejected thee from being king.
Pretty much going into said rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, which that's going into to Saul, you know. He was instructed to do to put out all the Amalekites out of the land, you know, but he saved, you know, the pretty much the animals that wasn't hurt, you know. He was always gonna make a sacrifice, you know, so that was equatable to witchcraft, you know. Rebellion is just like witchcraft, and witches, they get put to death, you know.
Right. Also, he spared the king of the Amalekites too. All right, which allowed them to repopulate and see where we are now, man. You know, because at the end of the day, another sin that King Saul did was whenever the Lord pretty much, you know, took the kingdom away from him and started to raise up King David, he went and consulted with a witch to bring back Samuel's spirit, man. Even though, like you said, he knew that was off because he banished all the witches out of the land, man. So this is why the Most High let it be known, all right, that look, if you're rebelling against me, that's just as bad as witchcraft, because when you go into that word rebel, it means to fight against God, man. You know.
Okay. We go down to verse 27.
So Leviticus 19 and verse 27. You shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
Right. So it says, "It shall not round the corners of your heads." All right. When you go into, could we get that word for round, Baba Kusha?
Con. This is the word for round in Strong's H6285.
That's corner. It'll be
round.
No, yeah, right there. Yeah. It says you scroll up. It says "naquap," and you break it down by the character. Na goes into continue. The qua, it goes into the circle, and the pa goes into the border. So breaking it down will be continue circling to make a border. You know, pretty much going into edge ups. Baba Kusha, you scroll down to the lexicon.
It was an Egyptian custom.
Yeah, it went to you keep going. It's gonna be down in the part where they write into.
It says right here also of heathen, right?
Con. Yeah, right there. But pretty much like priests, and the brother Tazwan was going into. I got it written right here. It says circling. Pretty much the Arabs and the Egyptians, they used to do that. You know, going into making a border around the head. You know. Could we get 2 Samuel? Actually, could you get the commentary for this?
Yeah, get that, and then go down to 28 too. Well.
You wanted the commentary? Salakia, go ahead.
Yeah, the commentary.
For verse 27?
Con.
Okay, con. Which text commentary?
David
David Goosey.
Okay.
That's the guy right there, man.
Yeah.
All right. Leviticus 19, 26 through 31 laws to ensure separation, from pagan practices. B.
They're right there.
You shall not shave around the sides of your head, nor shall you disfigure the edges of your beard. To do this was to imitate pagan customs of that day. Today, you wish Orthodox men are noticeable by their untrimmed beards and the long curly locks on the sides of their heads.
Which that part is going off as far as the I don't know what they call them, but they got the curly ass shit going from their head. Yeah.
Yeah, that's them. I forgot the reason why they do that, but like I said, that's bones. So you Akim and Aquap that come across that, spit that part out.
Yep. You want me to keep going?
That was pretty much the point. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you can read the part of that.
It says this: the Gentiles did either for the worship of the devils or idols, to whom young men used to consecrate their hair by being cut off from their heads, as Homer, Plutarch, and many others write, or in funerals or immoderate mournings, as appears from Isaiah 15:2, Jeremiah 48:37.
Right, because you had, like, for example, Elam, they'll cut their hair off, all right, so they'll shave their head bald and pretty much use their hair to sacrifice to their idol, and they'll pray over their hair. That's why a lot of these damn women that get these weaves don't realize that they're getting, hair that had been sacrificed to an idol, man. That's why these women be having spirits on them that be wearing that weave, man, because there's demons in that shit, man.
Right. You can stay in this. I'm gonna read Leviticus 19 and 28. It says, unless brothers didn't have nothing else. Or
you got it. Go ahead.
It says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. Which I want to get that word for marks, because it also goes into to cuttings as well. But it says kwai, which that goes into an incision, imprintment, a tattoo, or a mark. So like Revelation 13 and 16, that, we can't get that either, because when you ultimately go into the skin, that word right there, that qua goes into a circle, which is the circle of the head, and then that eye goes into a serve. So you pretty much you're bowing your head down in servitude of an idol, So that's why it says kwai. I got something written right here. That word tattoo, or what was it? Cuttings was sharat, a tattoo. And we actually read it right here. The cuttings in the flesh part.
Gone. It says, cuttings in the flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. These were also pagan practices the Most High wanted Israel to be separate from. The trimming of the hair, the beard, cutting, and tattoos were all connected with pagan rites of mourning.
Let me get this before we continue on. It says something about the beard, but this is 2 Samuel chapter 10. 2 Samuel chapter 10 and verse 4. It says, wherefore Hanun took David's servants and shaved off the one half of their beards and cut off their garments in the middle, going into t-shirts, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. When they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. Which the commentary is pretty heavy on this. But just going into that, like you got a lot of jakes that they have shaved their face for a job, and that's actually I'm gonna get it in the commentary.
Yeah, because the reason why King David had them stay back, because it's in our law first and foremost for the men to have beards in their face, but for them to have half their beard shaved off, it would have been shameful for them to come back into town looking like that. So King David pretty much saved their what's the word
image.
Yeah.
I got it right here. It says, Hanun took David's servants, shaved off half of their beards, cut off their garments in the middle, and sent them away. This was a disgraceful insult to these ambassadors from Israel, in that culture, many men would rather die than to have their beard shaved off. This was because a clean-shaven face was a mark of a slave, and free men wore beards, with the value universally set upon the beard by the Hebrews and other Oriental nations
Mm.
as being man's greatest ornament. The cutting off of one half of it was the greatest insult that could have been offered to the ambassadors, and through them to David, their king. So that was a heavy disrespect. I'm gonna keep going. It says the beard is held in high respect in the East. The possessor considers it his greatest ornament, often swears by it, and in matters of great importance pledges it. Which I'm not touching on that part, but pretty much your beard in our customs. We're supposed to keep our beard, So you got a lot of Jakes that shave their beard, line it up and everything. But that's like it's an honor to have a beard.
Yeah, that show you're right as a man. I'm gonna get this real quick in the Edamon, the Zondervan for that word beard, because it just adds to what you're saying on the importance of having a beard. So this is the word beard in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. It says beard, a badge of manly dignity. It says as a sign of mourning, it is the custom to pluck it out or to cut it off. The Israelites were forbidden to shave off the corners of their beard, probably because it was regarded as a heathenish sign. But the point, like you said, it said the beard is a badge of manly dignity, man. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so all men are supposed to have, beards on their face because that helps, separate, a man from a woman. All right,
Right.
only people that don't have beards on their face is women and children, man. But a
Mm-hmm.
man is supposed to have a beard on his face. But that was heavy what you brought out about how it said that a clean shaven person, that was like a mark of a slave, man. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why Esau wants our people to be clean shaven. All right, he doesn't like seeing, especially an Israelite man with a beard, man, because he knows that that's our custom, man. He does, and like it says in, I believe that's in Micah, that he oppresses a man in his house, even a man in his own heritage, roughly
Right.
paraphrasing.
Can we get that?
Yeah, I got it real fast.
Can I read this real quick?
Con.
This is out of the what's it called? Slovakia. So I can't remember the name of it.
The Biblical Manners and Customs book.
Yep, that's it. Slovakia. So, I know I'm I'm through out here, but this is a biblical manners and customs just going into shaving right among the Egyptians because it was talking about how this is a heathen custom. It reads, the Egyptians were known for their careful attention to personal cleanliness, and contrary to the customs of the Hebrews and others, the Egyptians only allowed a beard and hair to grow as a sign of mourning, which was the reverse of the customs of the Hebrews, who shaved both as a sign of mourning. Uh, they have gone up to the temple. Well, that was pretty much the point. But the Egyptians would shave, you know, uh, as a sign of cleanliness, right? That was them presenting themselves to be clean unto their gods, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what all the shaving you see, that's idolatry, man. Because that clean shaven look, the Egyptians would shave themselves head to toe, to be pleasing to their gods, right? But they would let their hair grow in times of mourning, where
Right.
we would cut our hair right in times of mourning, and to please our power, we would let our hair grow, man.
Right, and to
Mm-hmm.
add to what you were saying too, it said that the Egyptians were like overly, concerned about their look, which is a spirit that you see on our men today, man. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
in the mirror constantly. They say you're lining their face up. Hey, the Egyptians wore makeup, man. You starting to
Mm-hmm.
see Jake. Jake is going overboard with the whole. Yeah, you take care of yourself. Personal hygiene and all that, man. But the men today, they're too obsessed about their look, man. All right, which is pretty much them worshiping themselves, but also like you said, the custom of them doing what they were doing was giving homage to whatever idol they were worshiping. But the Egyptians had over 600 some gods, man. You know.
Right. If I could add too, I'm not sure if it goes back to the Egyptians, but even now you got like Jake. They wearing like the little nail stuff, the fingernail polish on their fingers. I think that's a Babylonian custom, but they possibly did it in Egypt too.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I got
You
one
want
more out of
God?
the manners and customs. It says the idolatrous use of hair, and it touches on what you may mention of priest. It says the ancients, to the ancients, the use of hair was often used in divination. The worshippers of stars and planets cut their hair evenly around, trimming the extremities, According to the Herodias, Arabs were accustomed to shave their hair around the head and let a tuft stand upon the crown in honor of Bacchus. They say the same thing concerning the Magicians. This custom is present in Linnea and China. And Chinese let the tuft grow until it's long enough to be plaited into a tail. By the idolaters, the beard was also carefully trimmed around and even. This was forbidden to the Jews, and says that to this day the Jews in the East are distinguished, pretty much as the brother I may mention of. They say it was also an ancient superstition to cut off the hair at the death of a friend and to throw it into the sepulcher on the corpse. So just how you were saying, cutting off the hair was always tied to idolatrous practices.
Yeah, and when we're saying that, we're meaning like cutting yourself bald.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Could we get yes, could we get that? Could we get
That
let
Michael.
me get it. This is Ezekiel. Yeah, we get the Micah, and then I'm gonna get the Ezekiel real fast because you made the point. This is Ezekiel chapter 44 and verse 20. It says, Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only poll their heads. So pretty much going into trimming. We can't have a bald head. Now if a brother's losing hair and he just has pretty much it's like natural. That's something else. But to just shave your head bald, that's going off.
Yeah, brothers have like the low cut.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, having a bald head that goes back to the Egyptians and not different heathenistic customs. So the Israelites were always meant to be set apart from the rest of the heathen, so that you could tell that these people had a custom, all right, that was from the heavens, man. So this is Micah 2 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand."
Because pretty much the Lord planted them in this position. The scriptures say the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Roughly paraphrasing. So Esau pretty much has the power at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this damn devil has set up this society to where you are committing all types of witchcraft, idolatry, different things like that, and you don't even know it. All right, and literally everything that you grew up doing was a form of idolatry, man, and that was done on purpose because this devil, all right, wanted you to be going off, man, so that the Most High will continue to keep us in this state, man. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage."
Which pretty much having a beard, doing anything in this society is frowned upon as an Israelite man. That's why, like you went into, they pretty much push a clean shaven America.
Tattooed up, being a Mo. All these things go back to, like I'm gonna keep saying it. They all go back to heathenistic customs, man. You giving an idol reverence for something that you wouldn't even think is bad, man. You celebrating your birthday, man. All right, you being a homo. These different things. These are all idolatrous practices, man. That give there are rituals that give these different gods reverence, man. Which these idols are all fake. But at the end of the day, Jake is still giving that reverence unto something else other than Yahweh by Shemiah Shah, which, as we read in Exodus 20 and 2, the Lord said not to put any God above him, because he's the one true God, man. The scriptures tell you in Psalm that the gods of the heathen are idols, man. All right? These idols do not exist. They're not real. They're not living. Isaiah 45 tells you that the Most High is the one true living power. There's no God beside him, man. All right? So all that our people should be reverencing is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And that's the problem. That's why the Lord is angry with our people, because our people are rebellious. They continue to worship these idols. And they're going to continue to do this until the Most High just gets rid of them, man. Because here it is, all this information is coming out that what you're doing is wicked. All right? And our people still don't care. So that's why they got to go, man.
Could we go back to the commentary for Leviticus 19:28?
Yeah. pertaining to the cuttings in the flesh of the dead.
Mm-hmm.
It says the reference here is to the practice of making deep gashes in the skin while mourning the death of a relative.
Mm-hmm.
This was done to provide lifeblood for the spirit of the dead person rather than to express sorrow.
Right, going back to pretty much the blood being life being in the blood, you know, because they essentially was by doing that they was pretty much trying to put on that spirit of that person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going.
It says the tattoo indicated that one was a slave to a particular deity.
Mm-hmm. And going into that word tattoo or to make markings, it was kwai, which the kwai is the circle of the head, and then you got the I, which means to serve. So you're pretty much putting your head down in servitude to a deity, a idol, you know.
Mm-hmm. It goes on to say, ancient writers abound with accounts of marks made on the face, arms, etc., in honor of different idols, and to this the inspired penman alludes. Part of this message to us today is that what our culture thinks and how they perceive things is important. If some clothing or jewelry or body decoration would associate us with the pagan world, it should not be done. This is a difficult line to draw because the standards of culture are always changing. Some modern examples of changing standards are hair length and earrings for men.
But that was pretty much the point, you know. But that said that they talking about like modernization, but we understand that the Lord doesn't change. Like I got something written down that I got from an article. It says lines and shape, because pretty much that was a heathenistic custom you see, and then also this it says lines and shape create energy. Tattoos on the skin emanate energies. Humans have an open energy system that influences and that is influenced by surrounding environment. The skin is the physical border of our inner environment and the outer environment, the world around us. The skin acts as a door or a window that where exchange of information takes place. The skin holds information about us, hence why Esau can get DNA by flakes of skin. You know, the skin acts as a channel, you know, so pretty much by getting a tattoo, you know, you're pretty much, it's like a channel, you know, from the outside world to the inside world. Also going into that article, it was saying that pretty much that the spirit of the tattooist, the spirit of the tattooist goes into that tattoo, you know, whatever you get tattooed on yourself, that, you know, goes inside that person, you know, the overall spirit of that the tattoo parlor goes inside that tattoo as well, you know. So you're getting the fear, you're getting the anxiety, and whatever else is in there. Could a brother get Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 6 to 8? And I'm gonna finish this out. It says, when a certain line or shape is placed on the skin, it has a vibrational frequency which is now absorbed into the body's energy field. This now becomes a part of the individual's vibrational frequency. That person then embodies that property of said ink signs. And this is again why the Lord says don't take on the ways of the heathen, you know. And I want to also add to you know, the skin, going into how Esau takes the DNA. You know, the skin that shows your identity. You know.
Yeah, and then also that's your body's first layer of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because what came out because one thing you gotta realize too of how the Lord, you know, how He did everything, the things that He said not to do. All right, that He said that, you know, for a spiritual reason, but also for a physical reason too.
Right.
All right. So when it came to the tattoo thing, it came out that the ink that's in the tattoo, it pretty much destroys your body, because you know, like I said, your skin is your first, you know, your body's first layer of protection. So when that ink goes inside of your skin, goes under the layer of your skin, your anytime anything goes into your body that's foreign, your white blood cells will go and attack it. And so what that ink it pretty much does, it confuses your white blood cells to where it doesn't know what to do with it. And so that it'll bring pretty much, you know, go into the cells and pretty much kill the cells, and they become, you know, dead cells, and they'll end up, you know, accumulating together, and eventually, you know, your body will shut down if you continue to get them, you know.
Right.
So the tattoos eventually will kill you if you keep, you know, going into that shit.
That's why you see people like they get like the keloids and stuff like that.
Kind of.
Could we get Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 6, Papa Kashar?
This is Ezekiel 37 and verse 6. It reads, "And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord."
You keep going to verse 8.
God. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above. There was no breath in them.
Let's go into how the nation of Israel, the Great Awakening, pretty much. But then going to that skin, your skin is spiritually and physically, that shows your identity. Again, that's why Esau to get like your DNA, he'll take like a piece of skin. That's why like on like ancestry.com, they ask like some hair or some skin or something like that. But then spiritually, the skin represents the identity, so but touching on the physical, like the brother priest was going into, when you getting the tattoos, it pretty much alters your identity to a certain degree, and also going into that physically, like if something gets on your skin and it seeps through your skin, that's why you ultimately get sick. That's why the skin acts as the first natural barrier, and it's also like a channel,
Because a lot of these people that's susceptible to a lot of infections and things of that nature, man, because their immune systems get compromised from all these tattoos, or even that scarification and stuff people do, right, where they make those cuts in the flesh, to get those raised up scars, right? All these things compromise your immune system.
Also, too, the thing that they're putting on themselves, these different chemicals, because it's dealing with skincare. Really, you're only supposed to put on your skin stuff that you will eat. That you can't eat it. You're not really supposed to put it on your skin, man. That's why you have because the brother was going into the different vibrations, the different essential oils and all that. It help raise your body's vibration, man. So Esau is all about destroying you, man. That's why everything that he has set up with a means to pretty much, to destroy you, for lack of better words. But y'all got it.
Could we get Deuteronomy 12 and verse 30, and then we get Jeremiah 10 and verse 2 again, and we'll close it out on that for brother didn't have nothing else.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 12 and 30. You said 12 and 30?
Yeah, 12 and 30.
You got it.
I got it. Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 30, it says, "Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee."
Right, because again, like we quoted, pretty much, taking on those different practices, will be spewed out of the land,
And that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise.
And pretty much going into doing the likewise, you'll be destroyed and following after these heathen customs, because they can do that, we can't do that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the heathen can eat certain things that our people will eat, and we'd be fucked up over it, but they'll be cool. Like Moab.
Right.
Moab, that damn mukbang shit where they just sit and eat all nasty type of shit. Jake do that, and that's why Jake be having all type of health problems, man. Because we were designed different, man.
Exactly. Like you see those Ammonites and Moabites in those blue zones, right? A lot of them, though they're eating, natural foods, a lot of the foods that they're eating are abominations, man. Right. But they still living to be 110 years old, man. Right. Jake go over there, you wouldn't last 4 or 5 years over there, man. With gout, high blood pressure, everything out there, man.
We closed on Jeremiah 10 and 2. I get it. I got it right here. This is Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Yasha'Allah Israel." It says, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." Which the point I want to grab again from this was, learn not the way of the heathen. You see, because ultimately, Jake was made to fear the Lord. I'm going to get that. We'll close on that. This is Quahalat Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13. It says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. You see, we was made to serve the Lord in the fashion which He told us to serve Him. You know, because when we go off and do what the heathen do, we can't survive like that. We wasn't made in the same fashion. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that was the judgment the Lord, put on us for going against His will. So I add to you on this. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 15. It says, "See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil, in that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy power, to walk in His ways, and to keep His commandments and His statutes and His judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy power shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it." So the Lord gave us His ways to sustain us and keep us going. All right. So it says, "But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods," like we've been going through this whole lesson, "and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land, whether thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it." Right. So when we went against the ways of the Lord, man, the reason why we get jacked up because we broke the covenant, and there's consequences that come with you breaking that contractual agreement with the Lord, which we read about in Deuteronomy 28, verses 15 down to the end of the chapter, man. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, verse 19, "I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy power, and that thou mayest obey His voice, that thou mayest cleave unto Him. For He is thy life and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them." All right. So the Lord gave us the we've always had the key to eternal life, man. All right, which was just to follow the law, statute, commandments. We couldn't keep it perfect, which is why Yahweh Shai was sent on the scene, and our faith in Yahweh Shai is essentially what leads us back into that door. Okay, but the Lord always let it be known, like, look, if y'all want to be great, here's the game plan. Follow it and succeed. But our people wanted to be stubborn and be like the heathen, all right? And we're, in its position now, thanks to that decision, all right? But the Lord now is calling back the elect, all right? And we can see the separation being made between the elect and the rest of these niggas out here. And we're seeking that eternal life, man. Okay?
Bro, say anything else?
La.
Well, I don't want to Tazaz about now your Paulo's word does a beautiful edification through the spirit. Well, I don't want to Tazaz Adam. Yashlai Latiwab, a Lord's will, y'all have a good night. We can go ahead and close it out by saying, Call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Bahasham, Hakwadash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and rule well, and much respect to you bros out there pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincere shalom, shalom, Halay Latiwab, shalom.
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 Wow.